It was the phone call that changed everything, not because of what was said, but because of who didn't say a word. Rain tapped softly against the windows of the small bookstore cafe where Maya sat, hunched over her journal. At 26, she had moved to the city with nothing but dreams and determination. She had always believed that if you worked hard and stayed kind, the right people would naturally surround you. But life, as it often does, had a crueler plan. Maya had been working at a startup for 2 years. She joined with high hopes, lured by the charisma of the founder, Karen, bold, confident, and full of promises. "We're a family," he had said during her interview. "Here, everyone lifts each other up." It sounded perfect to Maya, who had grown up in a quiet town where loyalty and warmth were more than words, they were lived values. But the months that followed painted a different picture. Her colleagues seemed friendly on the surface, but there was always a quiet competition simmering beneath. Ideas were stolen, credit was misplaced, and failures were silently celebrated by those who had long wanted to see her fall. Karen, the man who once called her a rising star, now barely acknowledged her work. The breaking point came during the company's biggest pitch presentation. Maya had spent weeks preparing it, sleepless nights, endless revisions, practicing in front of her bathroom mirror. On the day of the pitch, Karen stood confidently before the investors and presented her work without a single mention of her name. Not once. Her hands trembled as she clapped along with the others. That evening, she walked out of the office with her resignation letter in hand, the weight of betrayal heavier than the evening rain that soaked her coat. She didn't cry, not until she sat in that bookstore cafe, the only place in the city that still felt like hers. It was then that her phone buzzed. A message from Ria. Ria had been Maya's friend since college, always the one to call when things felt too heavy. They had lost touch after Maya got caught up in her dream job. But Ria had noticed the subtle changes, missed calls, tired eyes in the photos, half-hearted responses. The message simply read, "Want to talk? I made tea." Maya walked through the drizzle to Ray's apartment. They didn't speak for the first few minutes. Maya just sat, warm mug in her hands, her heart slowly thawing in the presence of someone who cared without conditions. "I thought I had to prove myself to them," Maya finally said, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought if I worked hard enough, they'd see my worth." Ria looked at her, eyes kind. "Maya, you don't need to convince the wrong people of your value. The right people see it without being told." That night, something shifted inside Maya. She started thinking differently, not just about work, but about relationships, dreams, and her own self-worth. In the weeks that followed, she applied for jobs, not with the biggest names, but where the team values aligned with hers. She reconnected with old friends, the kind who remembered her birthday without a Facebook reminder. She volunteered at a local community center, teaching English to migrant women, something she had always wanted to do but never had the time for. One evening, during a casual meetup organized by the community center, Maya met Arav, a freelance designer with a laugh that came easily and eyes that listened. They began collaborating on a creative project, an illustrated storybook series for children learning English, based on everyday heroes and simple but profound life lessons. As their friendship deepened, so did Maya's sense of belonging, not just with him, but with herself. For the first time in years, she wasn't trying to fit into someone else's world, she was building her own. Months later, Maya published her first book in the series. On the dedication page, she wrote, "To those who walk beside you when the road turns dark, choose them, keep them, they are your true north. Moral of the story: in life, it's not enough to work hard or be kind if you're constantly surrounded by the wrong people. Choose your circle carefully. The right people will not only help you rise, they'll remind you of your worth even when you forget it yourself. So remember, select the right people. They make all the difference."